SEO for brands, branded, non-branded. SEO for brands, branded, non-branded. So it's branded versus non-branded, and it's all about SEO. SEO is a branding marketing tool, a really good tool we can all use, we can all produce with, we can all work with, we can all learn from, and we can all do, right? You have to think about what you're doing with your business, right? And if you're doing something great with your business, then your business is also going to make a lot of sense. And when it makes a lot of sense, you know what also happens? When it makes a lot of sense, it also makes a lot of sense because your brand is making sense. It's making attention, it's making people aware, it's making people, connected. It's very interesting to see that. Welcome Kyoko. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I know this is an international app, so thanks for being here. Atraf, thanks for being here too. I know other people are going to be joining in as we get this show started, as we get this room started, and let people come in and enjoy, learn something new, see how they can actually produce things, connect, build connections, let them also learn, the value of what they're doing, long term. Because one thing I definitely do agree with when it comes to branding is when you create an expression, when you create the time to actually connect with people with your brand, they'll get to know you. And SEO is where all this stems from. If you really think about any brand out there in the world, any brand, name them, any brand in the world, all those brands have SEO. Whether you like it or not, they do. They have SEO. They've been, using it for a long time. They've connected things for a long time. Like, look at Wikipedia, look at Tesla, look at Kroger, look at Whole Foods, look at Apple, look at Coca-Cola. If you look at those websites are their brands first, their businesses first, right? And then their domains. And then those domains have property. So if those domains have property, then you should also be there to some extent, right? You should also find a way to just be there, because if you're not on those platforms, if you're not on those websites, you can't say you have SEO and you're not being seen, not working. Hey John, good morning. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, Favor. Good to be here with everybody.
Thanks for being here. We would love for people to get to know you. I'll pass the mic to you. Just a quick introduction so that people can get to connect.
Well, it's I'm the host of the nationally syndicated law enforcement talk radio show and podcast. We broadcast weekly on 116 official AM/FM affiliate stations across the United States. To about 44 million combined population. It started as a podcast only in March 2017. It was recruited by radio and growing. Uh, and my website is letradio.com if you need more information. And it's always a pleasure to share a stage with you, Favor.
Same here, John. It's always a pleasure sharing the stage with you, connecting with you. Thank you so much for being here. And please put the link in the chat too so that people can click on it and connect. Welcome, Marcy. Welcome to the room. Good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Favor Ike, and I am the founder at Work and Play Entertainment and also a top 3% global podcast host at We Don't Play. And we help businesses, business leaders, and also executives understand the value of how SEO works and how we can apply them to make sure that you can convert at a higher rate for your brand, whether it's through a website, through a social feed, through an email. We make sure that you're online and you're also present. So I'm glad that we're here today to talk about these great things. Yes, so please click on the link, guys, in the chat. That's John's link. Please make sure you click on that if you want to stay connected. So today we're talking about SEO for brands, branded versus non-branded content. Now, there's a reason why I put the branded versus non-branded content in brackets, because I initially created this title without the brackets. So I felt like maybe the brackets would be really good for people to have some context, right? Because if I just said SEO for brands, it'll be like, okay. But now when I say branded versus non-branded content, you're like, okay. So you slow down because now you're trying to really understand, what does this mean? SEO for brands, yeah, I get it. So the response, the psychological response that I've just shown you in that example is where SEO comes in, because people take their time with SEO. SEO takes time, and people also take their time. Why do people take their time? They take their time because they want to understand who they're connecting with. When you meet somebody for the first time, you're not going to be buddy buddy with them on first meeting. Some people do it, some people don't, right? At the end of the day, you get what you get because of how you got it, right? So if you think about the long-term effect of that, right? It's, as a brand, you have to think about, how are we connecting with these brands? What are these brands actually saying? Are these brands actually for me? Are they not for me? I mean, you can have a brand, everyone knows your brand, but nobody might buy from your brand. So having a brand does not equate to sales automatically. There has to be an experience, a type of communication value that is created, right? So that when that connection is made, it's not just, oh, we do this, oh, we do that. There's quality, there's substance to it, right? So these are areas that we have to think about as a business and ask ourselves, are we recognized as a brand? Are we seen as a brand? Do we even know the brand? And if we know the brand, what is the brand? Right? So there's some things that we have to look at when we consider those things. Welcome, Blessed. John, what are your thoughts on branded content, non-branded content when you just surf, just on a normal day?
Well, it's kind of, I don't have a direct answer for this. I'd say, in social media wise, about 90% of what I post on a daily basis is not branded, but it's all part of the brand because it's all attracting the audience I want to get. Then I have directly branded content. When it comes to writing articles in Newsbreak or Medium, again, it's more of about 75% is all branded, um, more leaning towards the story of who my guest is, but everything has the brand in it, and URL in it, and same with blog posts. So it's really, I hate to say this because it sounds contradictory. My number one focus is making sure that consumers see the content and get their attention. Secondarily, it's about the brand. To me, that's always more important is the consumer. Who's going to consume my content? And if I don't get their attention, it doesn't really matter how good my brand is if no one's aware of it. I don't know if that answers your questions or not.
No, it totally does. No, thank you so much for that. And it's spot on, because branding is such a big, it's a big word that says a lot of things, but at the same time, there's a lot of things that have to be said from the one thing that we say. If I say Nike, we're going to think about a lot of things. If I now say Walmart, you're going to think about something different. Like the word, the saying of the word creates the expression or has a feeling right from the moment you think about it. And brands have done that over and over and over again. Like, you'd feel a brand when they change their logo, they even change the color of their brand, you're going to feel some type of way. If Target changed their color to yellow now, a yellow circle, you guys would be like, what is this, bootleg? Did something go wrong? Was there a management issue? Like, there's going to be some type of question mark, because you're not used to what you see, unless you get a press release or some type of announcement or PSA that oh, okay, y'all are yellow now, not red. Then okay, that changes everything. That changes their branding assets, their emails, their everything, the print. It's just a whole mess. See where I'm going with this? The painting, the colors, the hex code, it's all in the works, because they're also investing in the brand. When people say invest in the brand, you're investing in the color, you're investing in the quality, you're investing in the font, you're investing in the topic, you're investing in the people, and you're investing in yourself, because the more you get to connect with more people, the more you know about things you could do yourself, right? If I didn't meet you, there are probably things I couldn't do because you didn't challenge me or you didn't ask me. So that's how you're also able to measure that success and, think about the long-term effects. So I appreciate John, for that response, because I'm thinking too, when you look at brands like this link above here, I did an episode, it's a Did You Know series episode, and this was This was last month. And I did some research and I was like, there's some brands who we know today that used to do different things. Like IKEA, if you didn't know this, if I keep saying these words and you didn't know them, just put a one in the chat. If you knew about them, just put a two in the chat and we'll talk about the ones that you know and the ones you didn't know. So if you don't know this, put a one. If you do, put a two. IKEA used to sell pens. Sony used to sell rice cookers. Nokia used to sell toilet paper. Samsung was a grocery store. Lego selling wooden toys. We all know that. Nintendo playing cards. Nike, we all know that, track shoes. Lamborghini tractor. Colgate soap and candles. LG facial cream. Tiffany and Co stationery. I'm gonna just pick them at random because there's a long list. Let me see the ones that could surprise you. Let's see. HP, an audio oscillator, right? Think about that. Pixar, an image computer. Nestle, a baby formula. And Wrigley, soap and baking powder, right? So those are brands that we know today that you can listen to those in this episode. And in my mind, I'm like, these brands were definitely not doing what they're doing today. IKEA selling pens instead of beds or frames or interior design. How did that change overnight? So when you think about your brand and how you're showing up online, what are you showing up for? Because a brand is representing a non-brand. Let me say that again. A brand represents a non-brand. What does that mean? If I sell pens, it means my brand sells pens. If I sell shoes, it means my brand sells shoes. If Nike sells shoes, their brand is Nike, their non-brand is shoes. So if you divide the brand from the non-brand, if you divide the Nike from the shoes, and if you separate the two, how do you connect the middle if there's a shoelace you can tie together? If there's no shoelace, if there's no bridge, if there's no connecting factor, if there's no aha moment, if there's no clue, if there's no leading pathway, if there's no roadmap, then how are they going to lead to each other? The reason why these brands definitely change is because of the people they wanted to connect with. Nokia was selling toilet paper, then he started selling mobile phones. So think about that. Like, if you think about how businesses, brands have changed over time, and you just study success leaves clues, and you look at the brands, see how your brands show up online. And if they show up online, what are they showing up for? If you really want to go deep, go to the waybackmachine.org and check these brands and see what websites they had in those days. So you can actually see the growth. Because sometimes we don't even look at that or try to see, oh, this is what happened, this is what happened. When these famous brands do what they're doing now, and you used to see what they used to do, and then you look at where you are now and look at where you could be in a year or two or four or 10, or even decades away from now, hundred centuries away from now, right? Because you're building a family legacy, you're building a brand, you're building a business. It's not just for today, it's not just for next week, it's not just for last quarter, it's for quarters on quarters on quarters coming on, in generations to come, because you want to leave a legacy. And you can't leave a legacy on Facebook. You can't leave a legacy on Instagram. You can't leave a legacy on TikTok. You can't leave a legacy on something you don't own. That's second party data. You got to leave a legacy on your website, right? On your podcast, on your videos that are actually shown on platforms that people can consume, right? There, you're able to bridge the gap between the two. If I sell newspapers, right, in 2024, who is my target audience? That's a very specific question. It may sound like a trick question because who sells newspapers in 2024? But if you really go to places that you can connect with, you could actually get people. But you have to do some really deep research to know who, why, and when. So if you now flip that to now and you think about what people are doing now and compare that to what people will be doing the next decade from now, will your brand still be searched within a non-brand? Will someone still type in running shoes and find your brand as a competitor? If they're typing, you know, permanent jewelry, which I got to know about, a friend of mine sells permanent jewelry. I didn't even know what that was till I started to talk to her about it. And she's ranking, top here in Houston, right? And she's doing well with her business, right? And people type in those things, and you get to know, oh, okay, that's the name of your business. Oh, okay, I was looking for permanent jewelry and I found this. Oh, I was looking for sushi and I found this restaurant, right? Because I found the brand in the non-branding, right? So I have the non-brand is a need. It's something I'm looking for. It's something that I want to associate myself with. It's something I want to feel like I'm part of. I want to buy a phone. Okay, I can buy a phone. Hey, Travis Michelle, good morning. Welcome. I want to buy a phone. Okay, I want to buy a phone. Which phone are you going to buy? You're going to think about the brand you're going to use or think about to buy with the investment you want to make, right? So the content you're creating or thinking about, if you want to buy a car, you start seeing Mercedes Benz all over, you start seeing Teslas all over, you start seeing Cybertrucks everywhere, you start seeing, Ferraris everywhere. That's because you've been thinking about those things, right? So it's a non-brand. You're not really processing, you are processing, but in the process, you're considering other options. That's why you window shop. That's why you look for comparison deals. That's why you look for discounts. That's why you look for incentives, right? So all these things I'm talking about, Groupon, I'm giving you guys examples, right? Groupon, Nextdoor, Yahoo, Yellow Pages, all these platforms are all brands that end up being non-brands, right? It's not a non-brand because it's a knockoff. If you get a Supreme t-shirt without the Supreme logo, is it a knockoff? So you have to start thinking about SEO for your brand and asking yourself, okay, what do I sell that's non-branded that actually is a word that people, I want to buy a piano. I want to buy wood. I want to buy a plant. Like you want to know what you want to buy before you get it. So when you identify that, you now put your brand on like a sticker, right? Like a Supreme sticker on. And then that brand is where you send people to your non-brand. So in other words, you create a website that sends people to content that you create that helps people understand what they're looking for when they're searching for non-branded information. So your brand is just the lamppost. It's a lighthouse, right? When they get to the lighthouse, they got to eat. They got to look around. They got to pick something. They got to do something with information. Yeah, I found the lighthouse. Then when you get to the lighthouse, what happens? Game is over. When you play a game, arcade games, when you unlock a new level, right? You get to the next level, right? You don't just unlock a level and the game is over, right? So when people get to your website, what happens? Like what? Okay, we are here. Okay, we got here. Yay, we made it. Then what? If you can't take them down the websites, make them scroll, make them think, make them read, make them come back, make them subscribe, not without telling them to subscribe, like leave them with the impression, oh, I should actually leave my information here because I like this place. When you go to a mall, you go to a store, oh, I like this place. This place smells good. Okay, I like the customer service here. Let me get the card. They didn't tell you to get it, but you got it. What is that? Zero party data. You give yourself in as a resource for them to find you. So when you start thinking about your brand, how do you create your sound and how do you create, those intentions? So those are big things that you have to think about as a business. So I would love to connect with you, Travis Michelle and David. Thanks for joining. Good morning. I want to pass it to you, Travis Michelle. It's been a while. So seeing you here, I'm like, okay, she popped back in. How are you? And congratulations on all your achievements, by the way.
All right, good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for bringing me up. I see you, David and John. Yeah, I haven't been here for a while because you know what? Behind the scenes, that office stuff takes more time than I really thought about. And that a lot of people going into business, entrepreneurs, we realize. And it comes to a point where you have to sit in your stuff for a minute. And like you were saying, Favor, you be very intentional about what you put out, what you're saying, what your brand is. And sometimes you have to tweak. Well, we're always tweaking, and that's fine because that's what makes us better. So that's what I've been doing. But thank you so much for noticing and recognizing what I'm doing. And I haven't even put all of it out there yet. John, it's coming. I know my podcast is coming. I just had to really sit in my other stuff because I trying to do my speaking and going through my academy and learning. And like we're coming here on Clubhouse in this room, marketing club, you don't want to just hear it and leave the room. You need to then implement. And And that's what I was doing. I was getting so much information overload, but it takes time to implement. And sometimes you have to separate to get things done. And so that's what I did. But I'm back and I'm listening. So thank you so much. I can hardly wait to learn more. This is Travis Michelle, y'all. Too much for some, not enough for others. But guess what? I'm always just right for me.
Hey, Travis Michelle, I appreciate you so much. John, do you want to say anything? Because I know we all used to, I can't wait for Creative Con, by the way. That's going to be a big one. I hope you're coming, Travis Michelle, by the way. So
I am.
that's
And Travis, we missed you. Glad you're back.
Thank you. Yes. And yes, I will be there at Creative Con. Absolutely.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining. David, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Favor. I'm doing great. I just dropped off my son at school, and I'm just listening here, and I just taking me back to my uh, to the days I used to work when I was younger at an advertising agency, and it was all about branding. So I'm listening, and it just takes me back just listening to you here. And buenos dias, and good morning to everyone up here as well on the room. Thank you for having me.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much for being here. It's great that we are talking about, branding, just because I feel like there's also a lot that goes into play when people want to learn about how things work, what things are. Because some brands also, you might hear a brand and you might think of two things, right? There might be two different things. Like if I say Delta, the first thing you think is airlines, but you can also think about, other things that people, have. There's Delta 8, there's Delta 9. There are brands that have those things. So when you type it in, you have to be very specific. You have to know what you're writing, who you're writing for, why you're even writing those things. So there are so many things you have to like put into place. If you look at, brands and you're looking for home furniture, right? You're going to get anything and everything. But let me ask you this question. If you're a brand, and I'm heading somewhere with this with SEO. If you're a brand I'll give you that company that does it the best, and they're also considered the most notorious, which is crazy, right? If your brand supplies X products and you don't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, all the way down, through the 26 letters of the alphabet, and you don't have corresponding content. In other words, corresponding articles, corresponding pages, corresponding newsletters, corresponding podcasts, corresponding fill in the blank, right? If you can't correspond, when you hear the word correspond, what that is responsive, right? So there has to be some type of feedback. So if your brand is not corresponding to your business, where people can find things they're looking for non-branded wise, then there's a missing link between you and the brand, or the product and you. So when you look at a brand online and you as a business, you sell, I'm looking for, let's role play. I don't want to be thinking only. Let's, guys, put it in the chat anything. What do we want to sell? Let's role play. John, Travis, Michelle, David. What do we want to sell? Like, just give me any product, any name, anything that you would want to buy from the store, market. It could be anything. Hey, Minnie, welcome. Guys, give me something.
And this is part of the problem. And my brain hurts today, so it's difficult for me to think. This is part of the problem. I don't sell. So what I want is I want consumers of my content, radio show, podcast, social media, and email newsletter. That's the main ones. And then the people, how I generate revenues through ad sales and sponsorships from other companies, but selling a product. So let's just say if I had to sell light bulbs, that's something everybody needs. I'd rather sell light bulbs than I'd rather sell Cadillacs, because people purchase far more light bulbs every day than they do Cadillacs.
Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, I love that light bulbs, Cadillacs, and then I see toothpaste, Bless, digital cameras, David, and real estate, Sadrina. I'm gonna address every one of them. This is great. Hey, Minnie, welcome. Okay, so light bulbs. Now, let me. Okay, this is gonna sound really crazy, but it's also gonna sound very responsive or relatable. And I think I've talked about this too before at some point. It's easier for, like, I think I talked to you about this, John. It's easier for me, even just the business in general. It's easier for us to sell, a $5,000 ticket than a $5 ticket. So if a light bulb is $5 and a Cadillac is what, 50K, for example, and I would spend more time to do investment in selling that one product over selling 50,000 units of light bulbs. So now it's like, okay, where as a brand am I going to position myself so that I'm going to compete against these people? Who is the number one? Where, if you were to buy light bulbs today, where would you go?
Probably if I had to go today, it'd be Home Depot.
Perfect.
Lowe's.
Lowe's. Okay, David.
I'm sorry. Say that question again,
If you were to
favor.
buy light bulbs, where would you go?
Yeah, I would say Home Depot.
Okay, Mini. Okay, Mini might be busy. Okay, so Home Depot and Lowe's. All right, this is perfect. So I'm gonna rewind us back to that point I made before about your brand. So imagine if your brand, right, was selling light bulbs. And because you're selling light bulbs and you know that Home Depot and Lowe's are your top competitors, and I'm a newbie, I'm just somebody that just has light bulbs and I want to sell and help more families. How am I going to approach that? I have to come from a psychological point, from an emotional point, and from a logical point. So, who am I going to be connecting with? Real estate developers. I'm going to be connecting with architects. I'm going to be connecting with home builders. I'm going to be connecting with interior designers. I'm going to be connecting with, like, I'm just throwing this out, guys. This is literally like on the fly. Welcome, Julie. Um, Thinking about what else? What else? Solar energy, right? Solar power, right? I'm thinking about all these components, and I'm like, huh, okay, what do I have as a product that Home Depot and Lowe's don't have? So I'm going to look at Home Depot's catalog, right? This is me doing research on the fly, guys. This is how we just do research. I would go to Home Depot or get their inventory, check their catalog, see what they have, what they don't have, and then now check the same thing with Lowe's. Compare the two and see what is the missing link between these two. Yes, they're big brands because not everyone goes to Home Depot and Lowe's for light bulbs only, so they definitely have a bigger market share and they have a wider reach. But I only care about this aisle, this shelf, this row. That's the out of this whole store, right? So now I'm being very tactical as a business. So if I sell light bulbs and my business name is lightbulbcompany.co, right? I'm just being random, right? Now in that lightcompany.co website, I'm going to create at least, like, I'm being very hyper high level intelligent with this resource here. I'm going to put at least 100, either 100 articles. I'd rather do 100 podcasts. I'll create 100 articles before I do 100 articles on 100 podcasts. But I can also do 100 articles because I love writing too. So it's like, which one do you do first? But I think I would do the podcast and talk about it and then use the writing to, like, put the icing on it. So I would create 100 episodes, invite 100 guests, or talk about 100 things, or be within 100 topics and compare. This is now the very key piece that you have to think about. Compare, because we're talking about corresponding, right? Compare Home Depot and Lowe's light bulbs to the light bulb company's light bulbs. So what does that mean? I'm going to write about the top 10 smart light bulbs for your home. And let's say you're focusing on people in Delaware and people in Ohio and maybe people in Nebraska, people in North Dakota. I'm being very random with this example. So it's hypothetical, but I'm giving you like a case study example. If I know that these are the countries, these are the cities, these are the states, these are the zip codes, these are the counties, these are the districts I need to focus on, because I know that in these specific locations, in these different zip codes, I know the household income, I know how long it takes for them to drive to work. I'm doing my audience intelligence, because those things we can break them down, right? So I know, okay, here are the top 10 zip codes in these top 10 cities. So when we now spend this amount, we're spending it only on these locations within these radiuses, right? And I want to buy smart bulbs. So I'm going to do some deep diving research. I'll type in light bulbs and I'll see, okay, who wants to buy light bulbs in the United States of America within the past 5 years? Which state likes light bulbs the most? Then I'll find that and I'll be like, okay, if this state likes light bulbs, then okay, light bulb. I'm going to use these top 5 states and run ads across these 5 states, right? They're 50, but it could spill over. But these 5, these are my primary. Then I can do another 5, which could be my secondary, right? And I can do another 5, which could be my tertiary, right? Now I have 15 out of 50 states, right? Because when you do top 5, it's not guaranteed that all 5 will buy. Just like if you have an email list, not everyone on your list is going to buy, right? So we have to think about leverage, equity. We have to think about, how do brands work? I'm giving you guys a whole SEO case study right now. So when you create these parameters, these are the states, these are the cities, these are the counties, these are the zip codes, and these are the people within these radiuses, right? The next thing is to now figure out how many Home Depots and Lowe's are close to these places. How far do they have to drive to get to these places for them to get a light bulb, for them to Instacart a light bulb, for them to whatever light bulb they have to do, right? They're going to have to create some type of intention, right? Now, how am I going to be credible above Home Depot, above Lowe's? Like, these are big companies. We're talking about centuries. We're talking about legacy here. So how am I going to show up, little old me, to show up with, hey, I got a light bulb. Do you want to buy a light bulb? It's going to be hard, right? But what's going to make it easy, and we've seen this over and over again, and I would love David to talk about it because he ranks above Airbnb in his niche, right? When you create something like this, right, with light bulbs, I would create and say, here are the top 10 smart light bulbs to buy in Home Depot. You have an article on it. It's on your website. Mind you, it's on your website. What you're doing is you're creating leverage, you're creating brand equity. Because if you're associating with a brand that people like, naturally they're going to like you eventually if they like what you have. So if people like Home Depot and they like Lowe's, they might like you. They might not like you. So that's not for you to decide. You just need to focus on quality assurance, right? So I would go on social media and now, think about, okay, on Reddit, what's going on Reddit? What are people talking about with light bulbs? What do people need with light bulbs, right? We had this whole Reddit versus Quora episode. So we talked about it. I'll go to Reddit and I'll be like, okay, this is what people want with light bulbs. Do people have solar powered homes? Is it just, natural? Is it just, how do people power their homes, right? Then I'll now decide, okay, do I want to service homes that have solar panels, or do I want to, you know, service homes that don't have, or a mixture of both, right? I'm getting very specific with this, right? So I get to now know which companies, for these solar powered companies, what companies are they even like registered with? Like, what energy supplies are they, centered with? Are they with this energy supply or this one? Like, you start to go very deep, right? Where are they located? So I know, okay, there are 30 Home Depots in this state or in this city, right? And I know, okay, out of these, people are going to go to these top 2 because they're closer to, it's probably by the freeway, it's probably by the exit. Like, I'm going very specific with this because these are brands we're talking about. This is community, this is commute, right? This is people, this is us. So I would create, out of those 100 articles or 100 podcasts, I'm going to write 10 of them focusing, I'm going to break them into 10 parts. 10 of them are going to talk about top 10 things, right? I can always change top 10, top 10, top 10. Why? Because that's commercial value. So if I talk about the top 10 Home Depot locations for you to check in the United States. Now I've gone beyond my zip code and I'm now across the whole US because it's lightbulbcompany.co, right? Now with this company, I can now talk about these smart light bulbs across different Home Depot stores that they can now buy because I'm supplying them with information they need. I'm looking for top 10, smart light bulbs. Where can I go? I want to, draft the first 5 and then drive to the first 3, right? And then maybe pick the best one, right? That's how people process things. So I'm just giving you a process too you can use for your own business. So when you look at the non-branded versus the branded, you get to see how you can position yourself. So as a business, you can say, okay, these light bulbs, I'm going to get it from these places. So I'm going to say on Google, best alternative. Here's the catchphrase: best alternative to Home Depot light bulb company, right? Now, someone might see that and say, yeah, okay, cool. I don't know the company. You're the best. How are you the best? So I don't know you, so you start creating curiosity. That's the first thing that starts to happen because you're actually sparking interest. At this point, you don't know what's going to happen. They're either going to click or they're going to disappear, right? If they click and they save, or they click and they show up, or they click and they subscribe, that's a win, right? So you have to be intentional about what you're doing. So I would put the top 10 and talk about them. A great example I was talking about that very notorious for this is, I'm going to just say the name. It's a 4-letter word. This company, Yelp. Yelp is perfect for this. They're notorious for this, right? Anywhere you go, top 10 restaurants, you're going to see a Yelp article or a Yelp page, right? You're going to see them because they're everywhere, right? Not because you recognize the brand or you know the brand. You've experienced the brand. If you have, if you've not, then you still know them, right? Even if you know the best brand, you may not even experience them because you may know them, but you've not experienced them. So if somebody needs to experience your brand, they need to know where you stand. And where you stand shows up online when people show up with searches that involve non-brands. So if I'm looking for light bulbs and your company, your website has articles talking about light bulbs, from the history of light bulbs to how they're made to, just informing people information, and then beefing that up with case studies that you've worked with other brands talking about this is how you've worked with them, this is how you've connected with them. You're also on podcasts, you're earning backlinks, right? Because a lot of companies buy backlinks, potential backlinks. A lot of people buy followers. This is something that is, we all know this, so it's not really new, right? They buy, people pay to play. You buy ads, you buy paid ads, you pay paid means you pay for what you're paying for, right? But what if you earn it? There's a difference. There's 4 types of media. There's owned media, there's paid media, there's shared media, and there's earned media. I'd rather earn, right, than pay. But I love to pay because I want to support. I want to be a part of it, right? But if in a 52-week calendar year, I'm paying more than I'm earning, then are we saving? Are we investing? Are we scaling? Or are we just, I don't know. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. This is an open topic. So I'd love to hear. Welcome, Julie. Also welcome, Pierre.
Hey, Favor, good morning. Can I go ahead and
Yeah,
add a
good
comment
morning.
to you?
Welcome.
Okay. I want to add something real quick to this too. I love the fact that you brought up the point about paid versus earned. It's something that a lot of times business owners don't make a distinction between. They kind of think of it as, any advertising is good advertising. But each has its own different purpose too. And you touched upon one aspect of it. Another aspect to keep in mind is that many times, if you've been in business for a while, having some level of paid campaigns can help people get the word out about maybe changes in product, changes in service, maybe an announcement, maybe a change in your branding at some level. Most of the earned media opportunities usually are, yes, they are mentioning your business, yes, they are mentioning your product or service, but at the same time, they're still fit within a certain context. For example, I write for CMS Wire. which is a marketing, I call it marketing magazine, but it's really much more about customer experience. Many times I mention a product or service, it still has to fit within the confines of that site, pretty much like you would for a magazine. It would be just so if like Favor, for example, if he was a car manufacturer, um, and I was a magazine on outdoors, and I would probably want to highlight maybe a SUV or some pickup that Favor was offering that would fit the tone of the magazine. So I could probably mention that in there. But something like a sports car, if Favor's company was building the next Corvette competitor, then that might not fit the magazine. So you would probably have to turn to some sort of paid media to get the word out about his sports car. So I say all this to say, as a business owner, there's going to be some times where you may turn to a particular medium to, earned media is really good because it helps give you sort of that, exposure. But a lot of times, there's going to be some times where you may need to turn to paid media for specific purposes to maybe help get the word out on something much more quickly and more directly to a message that you're trying to convey to your customer base as well too. So just something to keep in mind.
No, I love that. I really love that. Thank you for that example. I think I would even give like a very technical example of that would be like Apple. If I think about the expense report, I don't know what they spend on. I don't know. I can't say anything. But if I look at their budget as far as how when they spend money on ads the most, it's usually when they drop their next flagship or their next product. That's September. So next month, you're going to see a lot of Apple ads running through your screen. Everywhere you go, you're going to see ads for the next maybe till December, maybe. You don't know. We don't know. So you're gonna see those things. You're kind of preparing yourself for that because you know that's gonna come, right? So that's a brand you're already aware of. Now, if you're selling iPhone 16 phone cases, right, and you're trying to make that sale right there, and you have a pre-order list that people say, hey, look at here are our covers. If you want this and you're planning to get the phone, sign up here and you're gonna be the first person to know about it. People want to buy iPhones. They don't want to buy a case, but because they see your cover and it looks good, they're going to subscribe or get to know more about your brand. And if they're close, they can now pay for it when they're ready, right? So that also builds into the branding layer. So like you said too, they would pay more right now to get that heard faster because it's now paid media. And then earned media is now when they get receiving feedback from, blogs, TechCrunch, all your tech, news sites are going to be picking up on Apple's flagship products, comparing. YouTube videos are going to be going crazy, right? That's all earned media. And then that's also a mixture of shared media. So now it goes back to apple.com, which is owned media. So they started at base and their home base. But most of us want to just run the race, run ads, and not even think about home base or what first party data we're trying to attribute to. You don't have a pixel on your website. You don't have a Facebook meta pixel. You don't have a Pinterest tag. You don't have a LinkedIn inside tag. These are things that you need to have on your website. You don't have a TikTok pixel. So if you don't have these things in position and you're running ads to get paid for something, it's going to be wasted. So I love that you mentioned that, Pierre. Like, yes, paid media is still there, but a lot of businesses don't know where to pay for media because they're used to just spending it on Google and YouTube. They've been doing this for decades. So now when somebody tells you, hey, let's run ads on digital ads campaign, let's run it on a digital billboard, let's run it on Pinterest, they're like, huh? Let's do it on a podcast. Okay, let's try it out because it's new, but they're still like, huh? Because it's new territory. So when it's new territory and people are spending money and they're paying for it, they pay with eggshells on top instead of just making sure that their data is correct or it's validated enough for them to actually spend on and actually get a return on the investment. If somebody spends $1 on Facebook and gets $2 back, and their competitor spends $1 on Pinterest and gets 5 back, where would you go next time? So those are some things to look at so that you also know where you're earning media and also paying for media. I think Pinterest is the only platform I know that has paid and earned media. They actually say earned impressions. You actually earn your impressions because you paid for it with paid media, and you earned it because somebody saved it to their board, somebody clicked on it. So that's a whole different discussion, but you can get earned media through paid advertising. if you use Pinterest and if you use pictorial art, sending them back to your website, because majority of the images you see on Google are from Pinterest. So if you really leverage media signals, trust, domain authority, these are platforms as a podcast host, as a book, as an author, as a business, you can be on these platforms for free, but you also have to be technically there supporting your website back end. So that's a great, great point, Pierre. Thanks for that insight. Julie, welcome. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, especially for paid media, earned media.
Love this topic, Fave, and great points, Pierre, as well. I just want to say, hey, Travis, Michelle, what's going on? It's been a long time. I believe my philosophy for building a business is that there should be a dichotomy, paid versus earned. And also understand that money you're actually making this month, you should be pouring it in the early stages back into your business instead of going out and buying a brand new car. I find power. So right now I'm running campaigns on Pinterest and Google. I also am writing for Entrepreneur Magazine. I do earned media every single day by being on people's shows, having articles written about me, doing medium.com, which is a huge domain authority, doing newsletters. It has to be a dichotomy because you can't really build a business if you're not putting money into it. And I think that's a lot of people think, oh, if I go viral on Instagram, I'm going to make tons of money. Well, that's very, like, that is the rare exception. And I think people are misled and don't understand the power of that, getting that media, the dance between PR and marketing. And it's so important that you get those connections with the right people and do the right things. For example, John loves when I talk about the Daily Mail. I have a connection at the Daily Mail. I just got an article in like a week or two ago, and it's been exponential. Now that was earned media. I didn't have to pay for that. However, I'm paying for all those little things like Google Ads and Pinterest and those sorts of things. So you need to have that very fine dance between paid and earned. Thank you.
I love that, Julia. Fine dance. That's a nice way of putting it. Like it's a ballet. It's a skit. People can see it, they can understand the message. It's enjoyable. Yeah, and it's for a moment too. That's really good. I kind of went into a theatrical scene. So that's a really cool thought process that you put there, because as you were speaking, I was thinking, I was like, okay, that is true, because for you to be validated as a brand or as a business, let's say you're a new brand and you show up on, let's say, Good Morning America, right? Now you're being validated by another brand that people already associate with. So now you become a brand associate because you've connected with a brand that people love. So there's an affinity score, there's an affinity, there's a layout. So within that layout, people now say, oh, okay, because you like this person, I like you. That's just like 1 + 1 = 2. So when you're creating those, like you said, that dichotomy, it's trying to understand, okay, what's the value proposition between these two? What do these offer value to the business? If I'm running 5 commercials on my podcast as sponsors, what do these 5 have? Is there a non-compete? Is there a conflict of interest? Can they stand on their own? Are they also within their own industries? So these are questions that as business owners, we have to understand and validate, qualify, pre-qualify, and then justify when we're also running those numbers, throughout a cycle process. So I think also when you think about the larger effect, you go on brands, you go on business deals, you go on these things. If you're a business and now you start getting featured on Forbes, you get featured on, Entrepreneur Magazine, like Julie said, on all platforms. Now people take you more seriously, not because you were not serious or you were less serious. They just didn't know how serious you were. So they're like, oh, he's serious. Oh, she's serious. Okay, they're serious. And then they take you seriously. Then the tides change, right? Because now you're on those platforms. You're now on a they're like, how did you get there? People start asking questions because they were doubting, but now they're seeing it. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And that's how you should do it as a business. Just grow, create a LinkedIn, build it, connect with people, so that when people want to validate or connect with you, you look at your LinkedIn, they're like, oh yeah, this person actually is legit. This person actually is real, right? Because when they look at your business on Google, the next place to go to is social media. Yeah, you can rank all day, But if you go to social media and your account is dormant, you don't have any activity going on, there's no social proof, there's no social connection, there's no mutual connection, there's no social relevance, it's just going to be a matter of time and somebody else will take your spot. So it's that brand relevance, like Julie was saying, that really contributes to that. Welcome, D. Yes, Travis Michelle.
Hi. I wow. This I needed to hear this today. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. It's so
Brother
true. And I
Michelle, what's going on?
yes, Julie. I know we have to talk. Definitely. Let me tell you something. What Favor is saying is very true. I've been doing stuff behind the scenes, and I'm slowly putting things out. Right. But I felt I had to do more, even though I have a social media present, I still felt I had to do more. I was in my own head. That's something we have to work on. And being in this community is going to help us to do because we need to hear it over and over and over, just get out there. So I said, okay, I have John on one side of me with this podcast thing. I was supposed to put it out, but that was me, that fear. I'll just be honest, and that's the thing. You have to be honest with yourself and where you are. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not sure if I'm quite ready, but I know what I'm doing. I have my title. I even recorded my introductory video already, but I still didn't press the button. So I'm doing other things. And what I'm saying is, I went on a podcast on Facebook and someone was saying, oh, okay, we're interested in speakers, etc., because that's what I do as well. I sent my name. They went and looked at my social media presence and they're asking me to speak on Broadway in New York City. And I'm like, what? We want you to be on the podcast and speak on. I'm like, I didn't even hear of that. Like, but they wanted to validate who I am, what I do, and then they go, "Oh, congratulations on receiving the award from Les Brown as a speaker." So it does matter. It does work. Take it from someone who is a little shy about it because I'm getting past this being the best kept doggone secret. I'm Travis Michelle, y'all. Go ahead.
I
Woo,
love
woo.
that.
Can I say
Let's
woo, woo?
go. Yes, Julie, go ahead, please.
I loved how she ended that, the best kept secret. I mean, it's amazing. And I feel like people put too much emphasis on social media while they're not putting their energy actually into building their brand and business. Your what do they say? Your energy goes where your attention flows, or vice versa. But I just want to give a woot woot to the best kept secret here, Travis Michelle.
Travis
What
Michelle
up? What up?
joined.
What up?
What up, D? Welcome to the room, man. Thanks for
Definitely,
joining
man.
today.
Definitely, you was spitting a lot of that game right there. I think just me learning some of that stuff a while back. Literally, it helped me get commercial jobs. And I've worked with Sam's Club and Home Depot. You was talking about earlier, and Tostitos and Sprint, and the Bench Stadium, and just to name a few, right? But I think with and for those just wondering, I was doing some rapping, right? So when you see the word pharmacy on the wall, right, or you see some signs on the Home Depot wall for you to get around. Somebody had to put those up, right? And I think just learning about internal branding, and learning, your niche market. I think having work on social media is cool sometimes, right? But qualifying for commercial companies is the next part of that. Sometimes it's not only your social media, it's literally your scope of work. And I think being able to build our own. I think he was comparing it to another company. Literally, we can do all that same stuff that those companies are doing. When it comes to online presence. I think with those strategies, literally, some of those strategies actually got me in the door. Being able to scan who's in charge of the marketing department, right? But I think being able to have best kept secret, like Travis Shell was talking about. Like at one point I was right, but we can't just walk into Home Depot thinking we're just gonna get the contract, right? We have sometimes you have to be qualified, right? But then after you're qualified, then when you can speak the right marketing lingo to the marketing department, you're in the game. You are in the game. And sometimes those over supersede, I'm gonna say supersede the bids because it could be plenty of people bidding, but if you know somebody and you connected with them and they know you're a professional like LinkedIn, right? You connected with that person. So a lot of times they skip over these no names, right? And they go to you. So it's definitely good, be knowing your game and being able to and keep working on it because somebody is seeing it, right? But you have to qualify for the people that you want to pay you. So
No, I love that. Thank you so much, D. I appreciate that. Yes, yes, that best kept secret thing. I think I've also felt it too, because I'm like, Favor, I know a lot of stuff. Don't be. I'm just having imposter syndrome, just focusing on my podcast. But I'm like, hey, I need to do more videos. I need to show up on more. I need to be on. I need to be in your face on ads. I haven't done that because I'm just organically going. But now I'm like, okay, it's time to really do this next year. So if you see me on an ad next to your phone, then just know it started here. So this is exciting. I'm really excited to see how this is building and growing everyone's confidence in actually brand building, because Wikipedia, Wedding Wire, Yelp, Walmart, all of them, they all started with zero authority, and they all build their brand through leveraging other brands. And even speaking on brands, I put a very famous, I don't know, has anyone seen this? I'm sure you guys have seen this famous masterclass McDonald ad that I put at the top of the room. If you guys
the
click
AI ad make from McDonald's.
the one that, yeah, that they did, and it's like they leveraged Burger King, and just check it out and see how they even did it. Not even like the branding, but how they connected it to to the messaging. It's a funny thing. I was like, this is crazy. If McDonald's actually did this as an ad, it would really like their sales will go up for sure. This was a genius ad piece. It was an ad idea with AI. So check it out. See what you guys think. We'd love to hear comments. Before we wrap up the room in the 30 minutes that we have left. Let's say 32 minutes to be exact. So, yeah, I'm really loving this topic, and thank you guys for being here and joining. Shari, thanks for being here. We'd love to hear your question. I saw it in the chat. We'd love to hear a little bit more context. So, thanks for being here. Welcome.
Good morning to everyone. Thanks, Favor. I appreciate that. Everybody, since I came into the room, I forget that I forget to find this room all the time. And so I'm on Monday Motivation Focus today, and so I decided to pop in. So my question was, how would it be beneficial for everything Favor was saying, even what Travis Michelle was saying, for a company that is locally based? I'm trying, and I'll tell you what it is. It's a pet sitting company. Um, I don't know how the other things would be a benefit to me outside of locally, right? I can send people to my Instagram page, or I can send people to the Facebook page, or I did not even think of LinkedIn, which I just wrote down in my notes. Um, I'd be open to hear what other people have as an opinion on that, or should I still think of it in a manner of just because it's local now doesn't necessarily mean it couldn't be in other states under my brand, if that makes sense. Or partnering with like Chewy.com, let's just say. I'll use them as an example because that's my goal.
Yeah. Okay. This is great. I saw Travis Michelle, John, and Pierre and D. Okay. So, Travis Michelle, then John, then Pierre, then D.
Hi. One, I'm a pet lover, so I have a dog. Well, my dog passed away, but you know what? There is such a market for animal lovers. So if you're, one, your words. I'm only local. What do you mean you're only local? Do you want to be only local? Because Chewy's not local. Chewy is national, right? So when you say those words, I need to be in the audience with Chewy. You want to collaborate with them, but then your mindset needs to shift from I'm only local, because you're not a little small business. By definition, yes, but you have to think like you're a big business, because you are a big business. You have to see yourself that way, and in order to collaborate with them, when you step into their presence, into that room, that's what needs to show. The other thing, use your chamber of commerce. And I'm saying it because I'm joining mine now that I'm ready mentally. See, my mindset had to shift as well, because it's a little scary, because once you open those doors, you can't turn back. So even if you don't have everything perfect, you don't have every email list completed or your back office perfect, it does not matter. You need to start. In order to be great, you have to start. And in order to start, you have to be great, right? So connect with them, and you don't know who people know, and how you can collaborate. But that right there will get you huge dividends because it's the Chamber of Commerce in whatever town you live in. That's for everybody that's here. Don't sleep on your Chamber of Commerce. I'm Travis Michelle.
Love that. Thank you, John.
Yeah, a couple things, Sherry. And by the way, my dog, we had to put to sleep yesterday, so it's a very tender subject. But there's a couple things I would say. Number one, next door. Nextdoor.com is very local. Be there organically, be there for free. And it is outperforming for me. It's number two or sometimes number three, and LinkedIn is usually number two. So it's always competing with them. Number one is Facebook. Create a Facebook or business page for your service. And then you can do some paid advertising and you can pinpoint who you want exactly by demographic and area, what they're into. And for about approximately every $100 you spend, you can get about 700 new followers, and you have on average 14 times a day to connect with them. Then you can do paid advertising on Facebook for that area you want, areas of interest, and just that area. Last thing to say is this: Instagram is great for consuming photos and videos. It is horrible for driving traffic. It's not designed to do that. People don't use it for that. So when you do set up a post for Facebook, hook it up to your Instagram so it automatically connects there. And then do the third step, create a Pinterest official business page and do a free Google search on how to automatically ingest your Instagram content to your Pinterest. So you got three locations for one organic post. But for paid, I go for Facebook. For organic, I do Nextdoor and Facebook, and then that'll give you all three. Hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, thank you to Charles, Michelle, and John so far. I appreciate it. And I'll chime in after you guys are done.
I want to add, if I could, I like John's and Travis's uh, mentions. Those are actually really, really perfect. And you said, and if and make sure I understand correctly, you said you're trying to stay local, or is that basically the main objective? Did I get that correct,
No.
Sari?
So now I think that I'm to Travis Michelle's point, saying that I am only local is what I
Okay.
guess I'm trying to veer away from, because I don't
Ah,
think that
okay.
I think I could be much larger than just where I am locally, but I didn't know how to potentially
Go
tap into
about.
that. Right.
Okay. Okay. The thing I would suggest. There's a couple of things you can do. Sometimes things happen regionally. I had a client, he was one of my good friends. Unfortunately, had passed away about 10 years ago. He had a recording studio in Chicago. He had a music band that he had. They would do all these nighttime things. And then also a DJ service. And he was based in Chicago, but we found that his search traffic was regional, meaning that he was picking up people from Milwaukee. He had some exposure in Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is like a good 2 hours away from Chicago and Gary, where I am, and some things even in Michigan. So what you can do, there's a couple of things you can do in your analytics that will help you a little bit. You might want to think maybe regionally. I haven't quite looked at your profile, so I'm not sure where you're coming from entirely. But a lot of times you can look at Google Trends and see if people are searching for your keywords regionally. And that just means that you would go and you can put in like up to like 5 words at a time. But usually in the results, it will show which states, and even you can, and I think there's a toggle, if I remember correctly, you can flip over to look at what cities where those words are coming into use. And then you can also see if those words are being used sustainably, meaning that someone might be using a search term that developed over the last 2 or 3 years, which is what you will want over something like a word that they've only used once before. So that might help you to kind of break out a little bit more in terms of regional and kind of tie into what people are looking for. There's just because particularly with Chicago, New York, Philly, um, I've had clients before where they've had search, but their search was focused on particular areas because these were the areas that they have built up some interest. And then from there, I think you could tie that to some suggestions from Travis and John and see how to kind of alternate. And you can, there's two ways you can play it. I'll say this real quickly and then land favor. You can look at it as here are the words that are working for me locally, and here are some words if I'm trying to branch out to, let's say, California or some new market. You can, here's words that may be popping up in that market that I could probably then turn around and use, like for John's suggestion, use it in the ads and Facebook and so forth. It's just, it's going to take a little bit of detective work, but I think you can, when you kind of frame it around which regions you're operating versus where you want to operate, you can kind of take the tips that you get from everybody and kind of make the adjustment and make a real marketing plan from it. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Pierre. Julie, let's go, Julie.
What up? What up?
What's it? Let's go to D. I would love to hear what you would say, then go to Julie real quick.
Definitely love the shares. Definitely love the shares. I think clarifying question: do you have a physical location?
No. Yes,
Oh,
but no, not a brick and mortar. So it's always been from my home.
okay, we're gonna start with the no first.
Okay.
But so definitely what everybody was saying. But I think with those things, it's really about mastering one location to make sure one location is profitable. I think somebody mentioned running ads. I guess geo targeting ads, which is location based, right? To expand, your own efforts, as a business, they would call it a franchise, right? um, the best way to position yourself as a franchise is what are all the things that you use, make a list, all the things that you use to run your business, right? And then once you make a list of those things, are they branded with your logo? Do you have a server where you can give them their own their own website under yours, right? But that infrastructure in general, sometimes people don't like network marketing, right? But you have to think of you're franchising yourself. So whether it's a sales sheet that how do they make sales, right? And every single strategy, if they're in a different location that everybody just said, they would need to know those directions on how to do it, right? So then there's a SOP on literally what everybody just said. Hey, ChatGPT, give me these SOPs, right? Because you're thinking of me, I'm in Atlanta. If I wanted to be a representative of your business, you can call it what you want to call it. Um, but I'm franchise, I'm representing you. So I could be a franchisee, right? Which is, what does it include? Sometimes it's writing those things out. What is the cost, right? Is there financing available? But the biggest thing is being able to give it to somebody else, whether it's a uniform as well. I think one of the biggest things, if you actually have physical products, sometimes use those, because then there's a supply chain, right? What do you need to make sure all these dogs are good? Or you can sell these same products to either your franchisees or online in general. But to be able to, for example, have 20 people that's doing the same thing that we're doing, but they're representing our brand in different locations, definitely want to grow your list and segment your list based on location. I think Pierre was just saying that, because how do we know we're going to expand to Atlanta? We have enough emails of people that are requesting our services in this new location. That's why we're expanding there through that scientific research. What do you say? Investigation. But sometimes it's just questionnaires, figuring out who needs the service. But once we have a physical, like pamphlets or things we can give to somebody to be us, and a web structure to be us, then we can franchise ourselves and not have to franchise a full location. So
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Julie, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, I think Shari's head is probably about ready to spin off because she's got all this amazing information, and I love it. And I just want to say shout out to Pierre. I'm in Chicago, so we're close by. But before I go further, the before you do anything, like the most important thing is your branding, your website, and number two, do you have a Google business? And I'd love to check out your website as well, just to support you and just for a shout out because if you're close to me, we totally need a dog sitter in November. Thank you. But get a
That
Google
is brilliant.
business if you don't have one. You need one.
I Yeah, so it's okay. So thank you to everybody's responses. I'm making notes as we speak. So uh, if anybody's looked at my bio, excuse my sarcasm. I did that because people on Clubhouse sometimes are crazy, so I switched up to a little bit of sarcasm. Um, I do have 3 companies, but I want to tap in specifically to the pet sitting company. I have the logo, I have the website being built right now. I have the Facebook page done. Sort of. I'm still just building that up. I am going to look into the Pinterest business page. And was it John that, yeah, I think it was John that mentioned Nextdoor. I get most of my leads from Nextdoor. It's very interesting to look at the analytics on Nextdoor though, because you see them. I mean, you can look at them, but normally they'll tell you in 48 hours what your analytics are for those past 48 hours. And I'll have like, I don't know, 748 views one day or one post. And then the next one will be like 1,200 and 0 phone calls. I'm very cheeky when it comes to my pet sitting thing. I'll do a little jingle. Like I want to stand out because everybody will just say, try rover.com, right? Well, that's all fine and dandy. And I understand that. It seems easy. But I'm actually a massive pet lover. I've had animals, every animal under the sun my entire life, pregnant under a car, getting a kitten at 8 months pregnant. Like it's just my thing. And so, even though I have the other 2 companies, this is the one that is my passion project, if that makes sense, or the one that would make me the happiest. So, to Dee's point, in terms of, I know Atlanta like the back of my hand. I lived there for 16 years prior to where I'm at, which is Memphis. Memphis is a little bit different than Atlanta. I think the business in Atlanta would do really well. I think the business in Memphis is choppy. But that's to say, I have not done all the things that you guys told me to do in terms of research, geo-targeting ads, location-based, the sales sheets. So I will do this. This is my now homework for the week. So I do want to just say I appreciate everybody's replies. And yeah, I am, to Travis Michelle's point, I am a big business. So that is my now new mirrored message I'm going to put on my mirror in the morning. So I appreciate you guys all, and I'll keep you guys posted. Julie, when I do get the website up and running, they're working on it right now. There's a couple things that they did that it's hard to explain to somebody your vision, right, of what you want because I don't know that realm of work, right? I don't know how to build a website. I don't know. So I try really, really hard to like explain exactly what I want, which is like the booking part of it, basically is my biggest thing because I want people to be able to be easy and not feel flustered when they come to the website and just be like, never mind, I'm not going to use her. Let me just call somebody. Let me call Rover. Let me call this person. So I want that as I would say so far that's my key in terms of the website thing. But I will go onto LinkedIn. I will create that. I will do my business, Google business. And well, I mean, I've made everything everybody said. I made keynotes. So I appreciate you all very much.
Big business Shari. That's what I'm going to be
Hey, let's
calling it.
go.
Let's go. No, I love that. That's so good. Everyone's share was spot on. That's why I wanted to just listen and just take it in because we all learn something new every day. And I love that everyone touched on something specific to the brand and not just about the brand. Because when it's specific to the brand, you specify the people that you associate with the brand. And I was just doing some research and I was like, okay, Shari, I think we would love, to work with you and talk with you about how we can get that out there. Please click the link above to schedule. It's the first one that's a purple one that says an SEO audit because I want to show you what I'm seeing here. And it'll be just for 15 minutes and then you can now make your decision. Because when I looked at the map, right, I see Memphis, and I would say like if I look at state wise, it's number 28 on the list when it comes to pet sitters in the United States in the past 5 years. And when I look at the top five states that search for pet sitters in the US is Idaho, Florida, Georgia, New Hampshire, North Carolina. And then in there are 17 questions that they ask. How to become a pet sitter, how much to pay one, how much to tip one, how much to tip overnight, how to become a licensed and bonded pet sitter. I don't even know that. You would know that more than me. What is a professional pet sitter? What questions to ask, how to get one. Is pet sitter a job? So is pet sitter safe? There are questions I'm seeing here already, with
There's a
new.
lot of blogs there. That's a lot of blogs.
I'm heading there. I'm looking at Walmart as well. I'm looking at a search from Walmart. Yeah, appointment book. People go to Walmart to look for pet sitter appointment books, pet sitter gift cards, pet sitter notebooks. Let me go to let me see, Amazon. Let me see what they're searching for. Pet sitter accessories, pet sitter Barbie, pet sitter coffee mugs. Like I could dog tags. I can go on and on. Right now, I'm doing deep search right now, and I'm looking at the past 5 years. So in the whole wide world, right, in the past month, there've been 45,000 searches per month on pet sitters, and then in the U.S. alone, there are 25,000 searches. So that just tells you that the number is way more leading towards the US than any other country. And then when I look at the seasonality between May and September is usually your high season. So if I'm looking at that and just processing everything that everyone has said, on the SEO side, I'm like, okay, bet. If we're going to focus on these top five states, then where the pet lover shops there? What do they have? What are the top states? Where is the top zip code that has the most, the busiest activity? When people build gas stations, how does it work? I just got to know how much a gas station is because I talked to an owner that built just one not too long ago. I've seen one here in Houston, and he's like 7 million to build one. It takes 3 million to secure the land, 4 million. I was like, wow. So I'm just learning as I go and talking to people like that. So I'm learning and I'm understanding the concepts, and I'm like, okay, there's a gas station here. That means people live in this territory. It's new, So if there's a gas station here, what's going to be put in there? Who are the vendors, right? Then I go into another step and I'm like, okay, if there's Idaho, Florida, Georgia, New Hampshire, North Carolina, I know, okay, out of these, Idaho is number one. So in Idaho, who is the top pet sitter in Idaho? Who's the top? So when we start talking about those things, I now go back to commercial, what I talked about earlier in the room when I gave the example with the light bulbs, right? I'm going to create a website, yes. But on top of that, I need to have context that allows me to justify who I am as a brand. So when people are searching with non-brands like pet sitter near me, is a pet sitter safe? You have all those questions in your arsenal, and that's a sitemap, which is a brain that is now activated and justified to your website. So that's something we can build upon just building a website, because there's a difference between just developing a website and treating a website with search engine optimization tactics.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think I added on maybe a different tactic, because definitely when it comes to building that website, if you don't have this SEO, and literally answering those questions that's already out there on the internet, kind of how you just gave, literally you're not turning it into a search engine. I like that. But when I mentioned franchise, there's people that's searching for dog sitting, but there are people searching because I need a dog sitter, and there's people searching because I want to be a dog sitter, right? So the context of having answered those questions on your site, saying, we do offer a franchise, or we do offer dog training. Could start off with just dog training classes, right? And could turn dog training course, could turn into a franchise, right?
I
But as
just
far,
just partnered with a dog sitting training company,
see,
literally,
there,
just
there it
like 2
is.
weeks ago.
There it is. Course, and then your courses first, and then the franchise is next. Because when you think about McDonald's franchise, what do they have to do? Go to McDonald's school, which is full of McDonald's courses, right? But being able to target those areas with having a website doesn't help you target them. What Favor said with SEO optimization, you're literally in search engines answering questions about being a dog sitter, so they're going to come to you, ask the professional. But if it doesn't say anything about helping me start my dog sitting business, I'm going about my day.
To that point, and I don't want to take up too much time about what my question was, but I do have a question to what you just said. How many questions do you think would not overwhelm somebody that would come to the website in regards to, is pet sitting safe, or is
As many as
out?
you need, because when you do a
Okay.
blog, when you do a blog in SEO the right way, it's
Okay.
not overwhelming them at one time. Pierre, you can jump
I
in.
was going to add, there's a little tip of advice I've given to small business owners. It's a fair question, Sherry, that because there's a breaking point where you start getting overwhelmed on trying to go after everything. I would say I usually tell people start off with 40 words, and here's why I picked 40. It's kind of arbitrary. It's enough words where you can kind of figure out maybe what subcontext you can use for those words. Like, for example, if you, for dog grooming, you might have maybe 4 or 5 breeds of dogs you want to focus on because they're the ones that are, you know that they're kind of quote unquote more profitable. They're easy to groom, easy to take care of. You have maybe some products and services at the ready to offer for those. You might be able to find there may be some subtext to that in terms of maybe not just the phrase dog grooming, but maybe even pet grooming or even pet services. The list of keywords can be overwhelming, and a lot of times there's a breaking point between. You don't want to become a content producer in a certain way because that sort of changes your business model. To be honest with you, you're almost the next Huffington Post rather than being the dog group, being known for what you want to be known for. So I usually tell people start off with just 40 as kind of a arbitrary starting point. If it's like 41, 42, fine. Nobody's going. The SEO police are not going to arrest you right then and there because you went 2 words over. But it gives you enough to kind of work with and target for, so that way, to what John had brought up and Tevis and D, when you start thinking about paid ads or earned ads, it gives you a little bit of a base point to start looking at volume and making some decisions on what might be good to go after and what not to go after. So like I said, 40 is an arbitrary number, but it's a good starting point if you have a small team and you want just enough to figure out what to do, but not so much that you're overwhelmed and spinning your wheels in the process. I'll land there.
Quick question, and then I'll land. What is a burn ad?
A burn ad?
I thought I heard you say burn ad, like a burn
Oh,
ad.
burn out.
Oh, burnout. Oh, yes, that's
Yeah.
definitely a thing. Okay. I thought you said burn ads. I was like, this is something new that I do not know anything about. Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
I
Yes.
could start some rumors of that. Yeah, you
Right.
don't want to do a burn ad. Those flaming ads that you flame out. Yeah. Okay, just kidding.
No, I appreciate
Back to you,
y'all.
Favor.
Yeah, I just said not too much because literally people find you based on what they're searching for. They may not run into 100 ads. I mean, 100 blog posts. I think I was searching for something online. I think it was Chatter, and then I seen Favors. I ran into Favors blog posts, right? I didn't run into all his blog posts. I was like, dang, Favor got a blog post on Chatter. He first on it. But it's literally about when people are searching, they find that they don't always find everything you put out there, and each thing you put out there is almost like a fishing net for that particular pain point.
Exactly. Pain point, because it's so important to look at what people are looking for when they look for your brand. And I always say this: search engines rank your web page, they don't rank your website. It's like I can sleep in this room, but I can't sleep in every room. You know what I'm saying? So a search engine will pick out, filter what you're searching for outside your house or within your household, so that if you're trying to go to the bathroom or try to go to the backyard, or you're trying to go to the walk-in closet, you're going exactly to that place because you know exactly how to get there. So if you can position your business where you're answering these questions that people are asking, it goes deeper. Right now, when I'm looking at the map, and Shari, thanks for that connection. I definitely look forward to our call. There's 17 questions that in the United States in the past 5 years, businesses are asking Google 17 questions specifically. So if we can answer these 17 questions and attribute them to, let's say, Amazon brands, I'm seeing here that you can become an affiliate of. I'm seeing them from 8. We can use the 8ABC method, and then, go down and see what brands you want to associate with, have them within your pipeline. Then when people are looking for pet sitter dog tags, they find your article, then they find your brand, and then they find your business. They were not looking for you, they were looking for something about what they were finding and then found you in the process. So that's why brands associated with brands, so that you can be associated with the consumer. So we're definitely going to run into that. So I love that we talked about this, and it's a great case point because I also know Bless talked about toothpaste, David, you talked about digital cameras, and Cedrina talked about real estate. If you apply everything we've talked about today and just insert your brand, your business, and then look at the top most, attributed business or top of mind business, because when you think about top of mind, it's top of funnel, right? But to get to the bottom of the funnel, somebody has to think about you consistently, that they don't have to even Google search because they're already within your email list. They've subscribed, they've saved a link somewhere, they've bookmarked something because they want to associate with you, right? If you want to go somewhere, if you're on a fly, you're going to book a ticket, right? You're going to book a hotel. So when you people book things, bookmark your website, think about that as a click rate. Think about that as a social currency. Don't just say, oh, somebody bookmarked my website. That's a indicator that it's there. We don't just have bookmarks on Safari, on Chrome, because we like to bookmark. Those are signals. So if you've never thought about it, today was a day. Because you have to think about where people are searching for you. That's why right now, when we run ads, when we run commercials, when we run campaigns, whether it's a digital billboard or whether it's a meta ad or it's a Pinterest ad or it's a Facebook ad, we make sure that whoever is looking for this thing is in the right zip code, the right county, the right state, the right place. Because what sense would it make for you to run ads to a city that doesn't need your product? You have a great brand, but they don't need the product. Why are you selling raincoats to people who need vests and t-shirts? So you have to look at that bigger picture, and that's where we can definitely connect the dots. So this was great, and I'm glad we were able to cover this today. And I would definitely say for you to earn backlinks in 2 minutes before we wrap up is, if you want to earn backlinks in 2024, 2025, do these two things: either become a podcast host or become a podcast guest. Why? Because we're going into a time and a season that digital audio is emerging, and people are going to use platforms. I talked about it last week. I did a room, and I was wishing you were there, John, because wait, I don't know if you were there. We talked about Apple Podcasts losing market share to YouTube and Spotify, and it was something that happened last week, and I saw the news and I talked about it, and I was like, this is huge. So if you have a podcast and you're on YouTube and you have your RSS feed connected, you have social proof, and you're connecting that to your website as a guest or as a host, then your name, your business name, is going to attribute to those websites that you show up on. So if you have a website attached to those businesses, you don't have to do the legwork, because there's an engine running for you. It's an engine. It's supposed to run. So when the engine is running and you have set the engine up by setting keywords, images, links, referrals, emails, you're building that capacity so that you get first party data, which is what you need. Because when you have a website, yeah, you can have all the amazing content, but if there's no first party data that can attribute to this sale, then we're missing out. If you put a pixel on your website, like I know Shari, you're having your website there. If they've not put a pixel on it and you run an ad, you might be spending way more, because when you put a pixel on your website, your cost per acquisition really, really goes down, because now you're able to attribute that to your cost per result or the cost per lead. So many things I can just say. I mean, it's good to just stick on, but the meat and potatoes is in the strategy. It's in the timing. It's in the season. Brands like Apple is going to start spending money next month, because we know Apple is dropping. So we know what's coming. And when you predict that as a business, are you going to compete with Apple's market share when you're running ads, or are you going to complement it because they're already showing up and you have like a iPhone 16 case cover or phone case cover to attribute to your business? So there are ways you can go about it, but at the end of the day, it's how you show up and who you connect with. So this was a great room. I'm going to do more like this because I think it's easy for us to attach SEO to branding than thinking about SEO by itself. And this room has definitely proved that, because we have a lot of people in the room with a lot of tickets. So if you have a ticket on, please feel free to join the marketing club. We're edging on 350,000 members. We're at 349.3K members here. So we've been growing, and show don't stop. We're going to be doing this consistently. I'm here in the morning. So I'm going to be doing more rooms like this: SEO for brands, SEO for bloggers, SEO for real estate, SEO for food. Just put, X and Y together, and so we can make this happen. So thanks, John. Let's go. Thanks, John. Thank you, Travis, Michelle, David, Julie, Pierre, D, and Shari. Does anyone want to say anything before we wrap up? We got 2 minutes. I should give you guys like 2 more minutes before we go.
It's game time, baby.
This is Travis Michelle. Yes, I want to say that you know what it is that you want to do. Follow your dream. Dream bigger than your thoughts and let your thoughts be bigger than your dreams. I'm Travis Michelle. Too much for some, not enough for others. But guess what? Always just right for me.
Hey, that's what we're
Amen to
talking about.
that.
Let's go. Yes, Shari.
No, I just loved what she just said. I love it. I mean, I've always been, well, let me rephrase that. I thought I was always putting out there all the positive, all the positive, all the positive, but you just put me on my ass, Travis Michelle, because you said don't sell yourself short. Don't be small. I am big business, and I actually, since we've been on here, went and put it on my mirror. So I appreciate that. And y'all have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you so much. Yeah, Cosmo, I saw you. I saw your message and I'll respond back to you. Just wanted to acknowledge and say thanks for joining. First time in the room seeing you. Just wanted to give you the microphone before we go. But I respond to your message privately, but just wanted to hear from you.
Yeah, I'm very grateful to be on the stage with all of you lovely people, smart, intelligent people, right? So I caught the end of this. This is the room that I have been looking for. So yeah, I won't take up any more time. It's because you guys have already been in here. But yeah, favor, please reach out. It's because I have my brand. I'm already set up and I'm ready to go. Okay, so thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Cosmo. I appreciate you. Yeah, this is the room to be, y'all. I'll be doing more rooms like this in the morning, like this. I think now I know exactly what we need. This is just audience intelligence learning, and social audio is just perfect for understanding where we need to help each other. So, God bless you all. Have an amazing day. Love you all. For those who have a ticket, please make sure you have your ticket cashed in. Go to the very top, click Marketing Club, and that way you'll be able to join the house and you'll be able to see all the replays. The replays are on here. So before you leave quietly, tap on the three dots and you can save this replay. We talked about a lot of things. So we'll connect with you. If you want to connect with me directly, the link is up here. Check my profile, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm closing on 10,000 followers. Like it's coming close. So it's a really great place to be, and connect with me there if you really want to talk about business. So love you all. God bless you. Have a wonderful day and I'll see you guys soon.
Love you, Fave.
Love you too, Julie.
Good to see
Bye
you,
bye.
Favor.
Bye.
Hey,